Acceptance is a very active process. There's nothing passive about it. It's not passive resignation, but it's an active recognition that things are actually the way they are. Sometimes they're not the way we want them to be. So acceptance doesn't mean that we can't work to change the world or to change circumstances of one kind or another, but it means that unless we accept things as they are, we will try to force things to be as they are not, and that can create an enormous amount of difficulty. If we recognize the actuality of things, then we have the potential to apply wisdom in that situation to actually shift our own relationship to what is occurring in ways that might be profoundly healing and transformative. But without acceptance of one's situation, then it's very difficult to know where to stand. And without knowing where to stand, it's very difficult to take the first step. So some things are very hard to accept, like when you experience pain, for instance, and in your body, and you don't know what it's from. It's very, very difficult to accept it, because first we want to know what it's coming from. And if we don't have any answer for what is causing the pain, then it can be very, very difficult to accept it. But what we find working with chronic pain patients is that before you can actually work with pain and suffering, you need to actually put out the welcome mat for it and accept it as it is, because whatever has been done medically that could be done has been done, and you're still living with a certain degree of pain. What our people with chronic pain who come to our clinic experience is that there's a lot of different ways to actually work with pain, but the first step is to actually put out the welcome mat for it, which is very hard to do when you're suffering, but it's actually the gateway into freedom from suffering. So that's one of the most powerful ways in which acceptance can be brought to bear on healing and transforming one's life, and is a very, very powerful factor and is a very, very powerful attitude in the cultivation of mindfulness.
Hi there. I am James from Oxford Ideas, and today we're going to talk about reading and the incredible power of books. So let's begin. We all know reading is important. Every successful person loves to read, but do you know why? In today's video we are going to solve this mystery for you. So stay tuned. Success is a journey, but this journey is not easy. During this journey you need knowledge of different things to reach out to your destination. And this knowledge comes from reading. Reading will give you all possible ingredients to reach out to your goal. So, let's look at the incredible power of reading. Number 1. It develops your thoughts and perception. According to the experts, if you want to be an intellectual, the only habit you need is reading. Reading increases your perception, thinking, and imagination. It widens your thoughts and eventually leads you to success. Number 2. It develops new problem-solving techniques. Reading develops your critical thinking in new ways. It helps you solve problems creatively and wisely. All successful people like Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, Oprah Winfrey, Jack Ma have the habit of reading. They all think that this one habit is the key to success in life. Through this habit, they were able to solve their problems in constructive ways. Number 3. It helps you develop your personality. Reading purifies your mind from negative thoughts. Reading helps you explore new positive things, which at the end of the day helps you in developing your career and personality. It develops your personality by making you a more mature and humble person. Number 4. Reading helps you find your own self. Knowledge is like the sea, and people who dig deep into it seek jewel in it. Reading helps you comprehend your abilities and flaws in a better way. People who read become highly self-aware. Reading helps you improve yourself. It helps people in their journey towards finding their own self. Number 5. Reading helps you gain experience in life. Reading makes you an experienced person in life. When we read different books from different authors, we get information about their life experiences, how they achieved success and what difficulties they faced. This knowledge is quite handy because it clearly tells us what to do and what not to do. This knowledge also makes you aware of the follies and flaws of others, which helps you plan and direct your life wisely and carefully. Number 6. Reading empowers your brain power. Reading is a mental exercise for your brain. It energizes, empowers, and strengthens your brain. Reading for the mind is an extremely beneficial and healthy activity. It broadens your thinking by giving one focused direction to your life.
The idea of being alone often frightens people, and I agree that being alone forever isn't necessarily a desirable position to be in. However, being separated from the herd for a while to spend time by yourself can benefit us immensely. Let's explore the power of solitude. Human beings are social creatures. Nevertheless, there are many human beings throughout the ages that chose to live a solitary life. Anthony the Great was one of the Desert Fathers, Christian monks that withdrew from society to live in the deserts of Egypt and follow God. Despite their seclusion, the Desert Fathers were highly influential on the development of Christianity. Since ancient times, Buddhist monks spent time alone, sometimes many months, to deepen their meditation practice, and simply because they know that happiness comes from within and does not require the presence of other people. Our current society doesn't seem to like loners. The herd of today cannot stand non-participation. People that prefer being alone seem to evoke suspicion. First, they're ridiculed, like she must be a crazy person or no one likes her. Then they are feared. Is he preparing a terrorist attack? Could she be a serial killer? Or maybe a witch? In popular culture, villains are often depicted as solitary creatures. Gollum from Lord of the Rings, the Joker from Batman, and Gargamel from the Smurfs. So does that really mean that solitude is bad for you? Not at all. Solitude can be a blessing, and science has proven that spending time alone can have tremendous benefits. If used wisely, solitude can be a powerful tool for achieving health, happiness, and success. Being alone is a great opportunity for reflection. By reflecting on life, we can find out what direction to go and what to avoid in the future. Instead of running through life like a headless chicken, we can plan ahead and make a conscious decision to close certain doors and open new ones. And when we have created our game plan, it's time for the execution. Another power of solitude is productivity. When we spend time alone, we're less likely to be distracted by other people. Of course, it's essential that we don't replace human interaction with other distractions, like binge-watching series on Netflix, swiping left and right on dating apps, and the endless rabbit hole of funny clips and friends showing what their dog had for lunch on social media. So if you want to be productive in solitude, you might want to consider cutting back your time spent on the internet, deactivating your Facebook account, and throwing your smartphone in the river. If you've done that, you're ready to accomplish the great things you've always dreamed of. Like Nikola Tesla. Tesla was a lifelong bachelor and a true hermit, and he made great contributions to the world. To optimize his creativity, he secluded himself, resulting in a razor-sharp focus. Many artists and authors spent time away from the noisy society to work on their projects. Pablo Picasso said, and I quote, "Without great solitude, no serious work is possible." End quote. Solitude doesn't just benefit performance. It also puts us in a position to explore and even embrace ourselves. Meditation is an ancient practice in which we observe not only our thoughts, but our emotions and physical sensations as well. By observing ourselves, we find out what's going on in our body and mind. Insight in ourselves helps us to make better life decisions. Also, if we learn to appreciate our own company, we become less dependent on other human beings. Some people have the tendency to cling to others, and oftentimes they cling to people that aren't good company. Many relationships are destructive, but people stay in them because they fear the thought of being alone. If you're content being by yourself, it's easy to walk away from people that aren't good for us. An overlooked benefit of solitude is the opportunity to cultivate love. This may sound a bit strange if we assume that cultivating love can only be done by interaction. The key is that when we are alone, we aren't spending time with a certain group of friends or co-workers, which makes us free of in-group preferences. In solitude, we're able to see the bigger picture and cultivate love for a much wider range of people. A common practice among the Buddhists is metta meditation, which evokes loving kindness towards all beings in the universe. So, if you want to be more compassionate, loving, productive, and gain more insight in yourself, consider harvesting the power of solitude.
Don't create the expectations, there'll be no dejections. Before you start your life, you must spend some time learning something about this machine, isn't it? This body, this mind, how to use it, in what way it operates best. Shouldn't we spend some time? No, you just jump into life and as I create expectations and I get dejected. Obviously unrealistic, isn't it? Oh, if I don't create expectations, maybe I won't do nothing. That's not true. Anyway, you're doing something, isn't it? If you can look upon everything around you the same way, everything that you can do, you'll do. What you cannot do, you'll not do. What's the problem? That's how the whole existence is functioning, isn't it so? If you ask this planet to spin backwards, can it do it? So even Mother Earth cannot do, so what's the big deal? You are just a piece. So what's the big deal? You can only do what you can do. So once you see this, your whole life will be focused on how to enhance your ability to do, not waste your time on silly expectations. Life will happen the way it happens not because you desire, it happens because you're enabled in a certain way. Instead of enabling yourself, you're wasting your time in silly expectations of yourself. So, instead of spending your time building fancy expectations, spend your time to enable this one. What you're capable, that's all you will do, isn't it? Can you do something more? Can anybody do something more than what they're capable of? No. It is just that your capability can be stretched. Without stretching your ability to do, you're building expectations. It is just fundamentally wrong, isn't it? Now I want to run 100 meters in 7 seconds. You shouldn't think of this. You should just work on your legs and your lungs and just run. Maybe, who knows, you'll run it in 6 seconds, who knows? You build your legs into as powerful a condition as you can build it and just run, just for the simple joy of it. So, don't waste your life in setting up expectations because these expectations are not even yours. You're looking at your neighbor and setting expectations for yourself. It's a very, very silly way of building your life because your expectations are not even yours, isn't it? I'm telling you, human mind is such. Let's say in Mumbai, everybody had only one leg. You had actually two, but everybody has only one. They're all hopping around. You will also do that, though you have to, because you're setting up your expectations looking at people around you. So, there's no need for any expectations, just enable yourself. Whatever the situation allows, will do. This is all you have to do. Build your body and your mind in such a way that you can use it to the fullest capability. So whatever kind of situations arise in front of you, accordingly you act, not the fancy way you like. You know, right now, we have started a whole different form of education in Asia called Samskriti. They have no formal education. They're just learning yoga, classical music, classical dance, Sanskrit language, English language, and martial arts, nothing else. These kids know nothing, but you come and see them absolutely like this because we're just teaching them to use their body and their mind to the fullest capability. You will see by the time they're 18, they will be phenomenal creatures. Because your success in this world is just this. The physical world, the success is just this. How effectively can you use your physical body and your mind? That's all your success is. That's all it is, isn't it? A little bit of knowledge you need, the damn knowledge is all on the net, you don't have to keep it in your head. It's all in the net. Unless you want to do some specific kind of activity for you want to build some knowledge, you can do that. But that also, I would say the whole education system, which is little over 20 years right now, can be compressed to 5 to 6 years if people are of a certain mental capability. And every human being, almost every human being except those who are impaired in some way, almost every human being is capable of this. If only you take off the silly expectations which are a crippling factor, because your expectation is if somebody is doing this, you want to do one step more, even if that's a crippled standard. You don't go about building expectations, you just work upon building your body and your mind to enable yourself that you can use it to the fullest extent. We don't know how you will use it. What you do in this world should be relevant to the situation in which you exist, isn't it? Action is always about the situation, not about you. If this one thing, if you get it, then there'll be no expectation. Simply you do what's needed. In a given situation, you simply do what's needed, that's all. If you're placed in Mumbai, you learn the stock market. If you're placed in Kanyakumari, you learn fishing. This also you do well, that's also you do well, that's all, wherever you are, that's all there is, isn't it?